But when was it, do you think, when was that point where you were just like, you know what, I need to write this book. This is going to help somebody.
Yeah, so it was, I had actually been in contact with my ghostwriter right after everything happened with my former partner committing suicide. And it was so raw then. It was such a traumatic story, what led up to that, that it just wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
It wasn't the right time for anybody involved. And then about a year later, after I had gone out on my own, I was with some girlfriends at a cabin, and my friend was asking me, like, hey, have you thought any more about doing that? And of course, just my personality type, again, being humble, be like, nobody wants to read that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that big of a deal. And, but she mentioned that, and so I started thinking about it, and literally not a week later, Candy Cross reached out to me, my ghostwriter, and I hadn't talked to her in a year. So it was very fortuitous that my friend brought it up and Candy reached out, and I felt like it was a good time. It was far enough removed from the situation that I
Yeah.
could be a little more objective, but not so far removed that I didn't remember all the pain and frustration and heartache that went into that whole time of my life. So that was really when I realized it could be something. And I think really when I started shifting from thinking about as a story that was John Grisham meets Jerry Springer,
Yeah.
and what can I do with it? Because yeah, it's a interesting, compelling story, but I don't want it to just be about the bad stuff that happened to everybody involved, myself, clients, everything. I wanted to make something positive come out of
Yeah.
it, because unfortunately we weren't able to make positive things come out of that for a lot of people, and that was, I can't even tell you the feeling I had when clients would call and you literally can't do anything for them. Even though it wasn't my fault, I literally had no control over it. It wasn't the partner that I was working for at that time's fault. It was our old partner. It makes you physically sick, or at least for me it did, because I literally could not do anything to fix it. That really weighs on you. So being able to take that, put it into a story that's compelling but also has a message, and give back to people. And what I've also wanted to do with it, I mean, fingers crossed, it goes well and everything, is received well by the public. If I do really well, I'd love to give back money to, whether it's professionalism with attorneys or mental health care with attorneys, ways to prevent this from a situation like that from ever happening again to people.
Yeah. I mean, and so many of those, it's so tough because there are so many elements that are just out of your hands.
Yeah.
There are just so many things that you can't do. And I guess that's probably, for me, that can be the toughest part of life is, okay, well, I'm a fighter. I like to get things done, but when those things are just so outside of your reach,
Yeah.
what do you do? And that's why